Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Uncook and Wine. Thank you guys for subscribing, for watching. I see all your comments. Today, I have a very special guest. We have a pastor on the Uncook and Wine episode, Ambassador, right? Ambassador Onward Gibson. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for welcoming me, and thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited, and thank you for the juice. It looked like unscrew and juice as well today.
Yes, we had to accommodate the men of God. And we're blessed to have you here. I don't really want to ruin the introduction. I know you're an ambassador. I know you're a pastor. What more is there to Ambassador Onward Gibson?
I think basically I'm a child of God. Number two, I'm a servant in different ways, whether in church, whether in some of the programs that we do with young people, just as well as I think I have also a lot of work with within the development sector. I do a lot of development work in health, in reproductive health, in gender equality, with different firms, at a local, regional, global level.
Okay. It's interesting. What I'm most interested in is the ambassador. Where does that come from?
All right. So people ask. For me, it's in two ways. The first just being our church is called New Creation Embassy.
Oh, okay.
So our main scripture talks about being ambassadors of Christ. So that's where the embassy comes from. But I just like playing around that, because the second is that in 2019 I was part of a program by the United States of America Department of State. So I launched my book in 6 states in the US. So I was meeting young people, motivating young people in the United States to participate in the development of their communities. So I was giving a lot of hours into that. So you probably know that in the United States they encourage volunteerism. So every hour that someone volunteers for a cause in their community, they save United States of America $72.
Oh.
Okay. So that's how then they value it. So you're gonna go and clean on a Friday. I know here we have like clean up Friday. So they evaluate that if you go to clean for 2 hours in the streets, you have saved America $72 per hour.
That's an interesting concept.
I was putting a lot of hours into the work, meeting young people in school, in communities, going to food baskets, feeding, homeless people, and at some point teaching English in a refugee school.
Wow.
So when I got to Florida, I also got to have a session with the youth parliament there, and I then later was called to the actual adult council, and then I spoke. Then after I spoke, they conferred me with an honorary citizenship.
Oh, wow.
So I'm an honorary citizenship of the United States.
Oh,
and
wow.
Since
Lucky
the
you.
birth of the United States, only 52 in that state, 52 honorary citizenships he had been given since over time.
So all I have to do is volunteer. No, I'm just joking. I'm sure in some
more. A lot of people volunteer,
but it's not.
Yes. So then, by that, the honorary citizenship, was conferred for me as an ambassador for youth development in the United States.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
So okay, going back to how did you grow up? Like, which city?
I grew up in Gutu. I
Oh,
grew up
okay.
in Gutu at a farm with my grandparents, and then moved to Mashingo at a later stage of my life. Um, and then after my high school, I then crossed the border to South Africa.
Okay.
Even crossed the crocodile-infested Limpopo River
Mhm.
into South Africa, worked in the farms there, went to Joburg, stayed in Joburg for about 9 months in the streets until I handed over myself.
In the streets of Joburg, as in the
Yes,
streets,
as
in
a
the
street
streets.
kid, like
Serious.
lived in the streets of Joburg, central Joburg, for 9 months.
As a street kid.
Yes, as a street kid,
Wow.
until I had to hand over myself to the police to come back.
What is going on in your head when you're in the streets for 9 months? What is going on in your head? What?
Only I think you are then armed with dreams.
Mm.
Dreams of a better life, dreams of waking up one day, being able to work and going to Mukuru to send money to your back home to your parents.
Mm-hmm.
That you just unlucky.
Look at God. Look at you now. So then you are deported back to Zimbabwe.
Yes.
How is life after that?
I think life after that is just then trying to find your feet. I had failed my O levels then. I had one subject, which is Shona for obvious reasons.
Yes. Sorry for laughing, but
So then I had to do night school. Then I also then had to, I think when I was in Joburg, one of the things that I started doing was writing poems. I remember I would also go and sneak in for theater rehearsals at the Joburg Theatre. So I started loving arts. I started loving speaking. I started loving writing. So I was writing poems.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wrote a play called The Chronicles of a Rainbow Nation, where I talked about my story and other stories of people that I met in Joburg. And that became, I found a friend called Charles Mganasa, and another guy called Mandla Malunga. So they were connected to the Charles Austin Theatre there in Mashingo. Then we had to, build this up into a great play. We did the play, and all of a sudden we started touring with the play around Zimbabwe. And then that's when I started my organization called My Age Zimbabwe. And we used theater arts to address issues that are in our community. So 6 months later, I also attended some meeting that was with the UN and National AIDS Council, and this was this group called Young People's Network on health rights and well-being. And I became the president of that network, just 1,200 young people, and I became the president. And 6 months just after I left South Africa, I was flying into South Africa to attend a meeting.
Look at God.
By UNFPA. So I remember when we were landing. So in South Africa, we used to go to, so we would wash our faces in Park Station, just try something every day. Then during the weekends, we would go to Kempton Park, where there's a dam, to wash our clothes and put them on the sun. So
wait. So this was your life for 9 months?
This was my life for 9 months.
You were washing your face at Parks. You were going to Kempton Park to do your laundry.
Yes, to do your laundry. Then I saw some familiar features, because the airport is Kempton Park. So I was sitting in the window. Then I was looking at this place is familiar.
This is where I used to do my
laundry. Then I got triggered. Then I started. So the woman that was sitting next to me was like, it's okay, my son, it's fine. We're going to land. So she thought I was crying. I was afraid of planes and everything. It was my first time. I wasn't afraid. I was excited, but I was triggered. And then I get there to the airport. Shuttle is waiting for me with a driver. they take us to Sentin, and I'm living in a villa for 2 weeks, and just life changed from then. It has just been God, and God showing up and showing off.
Wow. It's man, it's so interesting that we see people when things are going on well for them, you never really know what has happened to think our modern pastor had to go through that. And then so how did you then decide from that point? How did you then say, okay, I think I have a calling?
Yeah, so I always grew up in church. My parents were senior elders, and then at some point became pastors. So I always, had been in church. Even when I was in South Africa, I would pray. I would find churches to go on Sunday, and even in the streets, I would pray. There's a lot of pressure for drugs there, because sometimes it's just cold. People just want to take something, then wake up, at some point in the morning. But I never took drugs. I never, took any, substances to get by my day. So I have always had a strong faith. But then I think when I came back and, I became, things started happening. I also had, find my life. So get along with the guys, at some point I started drinking and, having fun. At some point I started promoting music, so get artists to come and, that was the life. There's just one day I woke up feeling lost.
Okay.
I woke up feeling lost. I was like, what's happening with me? And I remember we were on a tour. And, when we would go on a tour after a play, we'd do a play, and that day we had a tour for one of our theater plays in Theater in the Park here.
Okay. And
we filled the house. The first day we filled the house, the second day, and the last day, the house was filled. So we're excited because it was success. Then I'm in the big stage and I'm crying. So my friend comes and said, are you excited that we are successful? I said, no, I actually feel lost. So I remember, we had plans, after the play, to go out, to have fun, to get along with the girls, and I just quit and I said, I'm not going, I'm going to sleep. So there, when I got there, I started praying. Then I remember the next day I got my Bible. I had to buy a Bible, and I started reading even on the way to the next. And then I went back to church, and then I started serving God, at a higher level, and things just started happening until I found myself taking bigger responsibilities, becoming a pastor.
Wow. And then I think if I was listening to another podcast, one of your podcasts, you said you started this church that you now pastor.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So I was a pastor in the first church that I was a pastor in, but because I was young, and I had also this different way of doing things. So our church was youthful. We started allowing people to come with slacks, jeans. We also started to see the manifestations of the Holy Spirit, people speaking in tongues, prophecy, and it was exciting, and I was sold out to God and sold out to serving God. Then the growth was just happening rapidly, and I feel that then the place that I was serving in, there were a lot of things that we started to do because we were accepting people in the church, as they are. So young people with dreadlocks, some coming and doing, hip hop, kind of gospel, music, pop, everything that is youthful. It was a vibe. So I think the church that I was serving in then, they had a lot of, restrictions and rules, so we couldn't fit in. Then I had to face a lot of challenges, and then I resigned and I quit. I was like, this is what I wanted to do. I had no plans to start a church. So if I can't serve, then, so I think I went on a break for 6 months. But that time I was also going to Bible school
Okay.
in South Africa. So I went to one of my last sessions of my pastoral course, and then this man just came, and prophesied to me and say, "We are afraid of, doing what the Lord has called you to do. God has called you to this generation, and how you are going to serve and accept people and worship God is not the conventional way. So if God has called you to this generation, just accept and do what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it in this generation. So don't be pressured to join, anything that will give you challenges. Go back home." And so basically then how, I accepted the next level, which is, New Creation Embassy, and it has been nice.
Awesome. And how has that been? Because obviously you're coming, this is your life. You grew up in Kutu, Mashingo, you go to Joburg. How has been starting a church? Like, what are the challenges that you faced? And also being a human being.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine just changing my life and having a calling on my name. And there's so many changes that I would have to make, obviously, because there's a lot of expectations that come with that. How did you handle all that?
Yeah, I think calling is always a battle of the flesh and the spirit. Calling is a battle of what God wants and how you want your life, as a human being. And being a moral gatekeeper is not easy because people expect that you become the standard of what they should follow. But also being just a young person, is a challenge because you don't look like a pastor. I like these bush logs. This is just a new hairstyle, but I think for the past 5, 6, 7 years I had bush logs, and I loved that, and my people loved it. Okay. But for your family, for you to tell them that I am your pastor, and other people's husbands accepting that he is our pastor, other people's boyfriend, girlfriend. So yeah, it's challenging, in different ways. And calling is not a choice. Okay. So you always then have the life sometimes that you desire. I wouldn't want to, to be holier than thou and say there are things that I would not think about as an individual, and then realize that there's something that I'm stuck in that doesn't allow me to, to become that, to do that, to be in that place, to be having such conversations. Sometimes you go on social media and this is interesting, you type and you delete, you type. And you delete, you're like, maybe this, sometimes you find something funny, you're trying to find someone to share with, and you realize that probably you can't. So it's a lot of challenges, but I think what the Bible says, he who started the work will make sure that will see that it finishes. So we thank God for His grace.
Amen. Today is a very interesting day at the Cook and Wine podcast. Seeing me as you've never seen me before. Yeah. So at what point did you then say, you know what, I think I should get married? I think I should, all this journey, at what point did that happen for you?
So this journey happened in between my transition. So I got into a relationship when I had not really transitioned to then coming back to serve God.
Okay.
In fact, I had a long time relationship, I think, which was almost 4 years.
Oh, okay.
And then broke up with this person, and then jumped over, and then within my transition, got married as well. So you are not in the church space, then you get married, then you transition quickly into that space and becoming a different person altogether.
So you're saying, okay, if I'm getting this right, you met someone during your transition, and then when you became a pastor, you became a different person.
When we got married, and then I became a pastor.
Oh, you first got married and then you became a pastor. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And how was that?
It had its own challenges. I think first feeling for me is, you become a different person altogether. And I think the greatest challenge in marriages that we have today is that when you get married without knowing your purpose.
Mm.
When you get married without knowing your purpose, then direction changes, and then you become a different a person together. And I think that's the greatest challenges that we are facing in this generation, because I think people get married for quite the wrong reasons, and then it poses a lot of challenges in their marriages.
Mm. Hence, unfortunately, then you find yourself in a place of divorce.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
No, it was painful.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the most painful and challenging moments of my life. I was successful in church. I was successful in business. I was traveling the world. I think before I got 20 to 26, my first passport had finished. I was on the move. I was speaking in conferences. I was starting to do couple programs, programs with young people about marriage and relationships. Successfully, my church had a lot of young couples and young people who believed in marriage because of how I portrayed mine.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, things that you have not expected, started happening. And the greatest challenge is then to then try and hold on, not because you are happy, but hold on because you still have an image to portray, and you have things that you think, if I lose this, I'll lose my identity, I'll lose my dignity, I'll lose my value, I'll lose my influence, and I will lose a lot of things that I've built over time.
Mm. Okay.
It was challenging. I remember got into depression for 1.5 years.
Oh, yeah.
I stopped serving God. I stopped working. I just got into this space where me and antidepressants became good friends.
Oh, it's a shame, man. Okay, did you ever feel like there's something that you could have done to stop it from happening? Or it was, well, it is what it is.
Yeah. I think most of the time when we fail in relationships, when we fail in business, and whatever endeavor that we have in this life, most of the time we don't look in. We always look out. So this person did this to me, they did that to me, they wronged me. But we also don't reflect how we are contributors to our own fate.
Mm-hmm.
How probably someone's reaction was based on how you treated them, was based on how you met in the first place, was based on some faulty mechanisms that also, are part of you. So I look back and think maybe I should have known who I am before I got married. I think that probably I should have, in the blink of my success, in the blink of speaking from conference to conference, church to church, international platforms, I should have probably given more time to family. But when that is happening, sometimes it's also difficult to balance. You're excited about the marriage, you're excited about your work, you're excited about whatever that is happening, and you may not do the best that you're supposed to do, especially for family.
So, okay, how long have you been divorced for?
4 years.
4 years. So how does a divorcee who is a pastor, how does he get back into the dating scene? Okay, before I get to the question, is marriage something that you'd want to do again?
I'm getting married, definitely.
Do you have a date?
Definitely. Do I have a date?
Do you have a date for the wedding? You said you're getting married.
I'm just saying, marriage is something that I believe in. Marriage is good. I enjoyed my first marriage.
Oh, okay.
I have moments that I really say, you know what, we did our best. And I think marriage, the greatest gift that God gives you after salvation is a life.
Wow. What about some of us that are not thinking of getting married? But anyway, that's a joke. Okay, so how does a pastor who's a divorcee get back? Because obviously you dated before you became this man that you are today. How do you get back into the dating scene? How does it look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's firstly, I think it's exciting. But secondly, it also comes with its own challenges. You don't know who loves you for you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because in the church setting, or in the church kind of dating scene, there are ladies who are very excited about just the glory of sitting in the front and becoming the first lady, the mother of their house. There are those that their calling, also that think that they will fulfill their calling of God, through a man who's called, who's called of God. There are also those that just like the idea of being with a successful guy, it doesn't. They don't think through, what it takes then for them to being with a man of God, a person who's serving people, and a person who is, always, up to working for God. And for me, it's not just working for God. I have also a lot of other things that go on in my life on a daily basis, running an organization, running businesses, running my own consultancy firm, and that's a lot of work. I'm busy, like I'm always busy. I think that when you are there, while you also trying to balance between being with someone and whatever that is going on, I believe you just also need someone who has grace to understand who you are.
Okay, so other than grace of understanding who you are, what else is a man of God? In case there's someone who's saying, hey, man of God, you've been single for too long, 4 years. They could be interested. What else is the man of God looking for now that you've discovered who you are? Now you are more grounded than obviously before. What are you looking for when you think of the wife?
I'm looking for compatibility, but I also think that the word compatibility is just that word that we abuse every time when we talk about relationships. But I'm looking for shared values. I'm looking for same interest. I'm looking for let me tell you the truth around why the divorce rate is very high, these days. Is I think that we get married for wrong reasons.
Okay.
We get married because I met you and I felt goosebumps. Yet it was just a physical reaction that when you look at someone and you like them, there's a physical reaction of hormones that run around for the sake of encouraging reproduction. and there are a lot of things that we ignore. I take love as a decoration.
Okay.
I take love as a decoration. But I take a lot of other things like values, like things that we should talk about. How do we want to raise families? How do we want to live? There are people that you meet and they love traveling, and they're like, if I'm going to get married and travel with my loved one, we'll be happy. But there's someone who's saying, I want to build a legacy, so I would rather, be minimum, and build. And that's where I want to, spend my money. But someone is thinking about, Louis Vuitton, Chanel what, on an Edgar's budget. So it doesn't work. Those are the things that we don't really, look at. So for me, I look at who I am, I look at my vision, and I see how, someone who's going to come as my helper fits within what I do. How are they going to speak to me in a way that will calm me down? In a time where I'm not okay, or I'm trying to push this, and I'm not okay. Do they have the emotional, maturity to be able to ground me? For an example, are they able to make me happy? In a way, I'm a busy guy. I want to get home to someone.
What will you be willing to do for them? Because now you're just saying me, ground me, make me happy. Are you willing to give them as much or even more for them to do that for you? Because a lot of times men are just like, I want a woman who does this. What is your capacity as a man? What are you going to give this woman?
Let me tell you, I think marriage and relationships are transactional.
Oh yeah.
Not in the sense of, people speak about gold diggers and all this, but I think everything is transactional. If a man that he has money, for example, and is this big, and they are not good looking in their face, when that person, is in that state, they want someone who makes them feel better. And there is transaction, because they also have to make them be comfortable to make them feel better. Knowing myself, I'm a person that has the ability to take care of my woman.
Okay.
And give them everything that they need for them to be happy. So that at the end of the day, they also make me happy.
Okay.
So in terms of giving, I mean, probably when I get married, we'll come back here and sit again.
You'll sit with your wife and she'll speak for herself.
Whoever will be seeing what will be happening will actually look at it and say, this is beautiful.
Oh, what a lucky woman! Okay, so there's one thing I struggle with as a Christian.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take advantage because you're in the pastors here.
Yeah.
It's Christian dating.
Yes.
At one point you're like, you want to ask God to say, God, I want to get married.
Yeah.
God, I want okay. I feel like every woman or every guy, everyone wants a happy marriage, wants a good marriage. And as a Christian, good things come from God. I mean, that's how I was raised. If you want to, whether it's work, whether it's school, whatever it is, if you want things to be good, you go to God and ask for them. And I've seen it happen in other aspects of my life, where if it's work, I pray for a job, I get a job, and I'm like, I know God has done this for me. Yeah. If it's business, I pray for it, and I'm like, this is definitely God, it cannot be me. If it's, whatever family issues, you do the same. But then when it comes to relationships, I don't know what happens. And then, you still pray about it. You meet someone, you pray about it, you say, God, I've met this person, or you pray about it before you even meet the person. And then, so my question is it because when you get into the relationship, is it because you're doing it the wrong way? Is it because of things that you're not supposed to be doing? Because that's the only part in my life that I've prayed about that just doesn't seem to work. Is it my fault? Is it because we are having sex before marriage? No, these are questions that happen in my head. To say everything else,
real things that are
everything else God I pray for succeeds. I won't even lie, I've got so many testimonies. I pray about everything in my life, literally. And I'm like, everything I pray for, I get a response, I get an answer. But when it comes to this one, So what is it? Is it because I'm not dating the proper way?
One of the things that has happened to me, I'm not exonerated from the things that you are saying. As I believe that at some point I also, said to myself, I should start seeing people and I should start dating. And I prayed. And I think until I also, even as a man of God, was praying for people, and declaring marriages and people come with testimonies, people coming to talk to me, fixing their own relationships, and the next thing, they're happy and they're getting married. About I'm praying, and even at some point, pray for signs, because people like pray for signs.
Oh yeah.
And you pray for signs, and signs, come, hidden in good containers with bad contents, and you do everything what it takes. But I want to believe that when you're a Christian, you're devoted to God. Most of the time, the things that has to happen should be God's way. At this point, I believe that God is better for you more than the concept of better that you have for yourself.
Oh, okay.
So we are always looking for the better that we want. That's why we have in our head, I want tall, dark and handsome, I want them, this way, curved, and people have what they see, and it blesses their eyes. Let the people of God say amen. and it blesses their eyes. But if you then believe that you are a child of God, then you believe that everyone is called to something. I believe that this podcast is a calling. You have found your gift, you have found your calling. That's why you wake up to do it every day, even without the views that you look, that without the money that is coming from it, until at some point, things start to make sense. But if God has given you this grace and God has given you this gift, it means that for God to sustain it, He needs to bring someone who will come and support you, so that you get better and you do this better, and you can move with your dreams. And if I'm living for God, and if I'm doing what God has called me to do, then I have to let God bring that person. I'll tell you that at some point God spoke to me that you are looking too far. You are looking too far. The things that you are looking for are not the things that I want for you.
I have another question.
Until I then started believing it, and I believe maybe something good is happening.
I have another question.
So, yeah.
So you mentioned, sometimes we pray for, I want a tall, handsome, dark guy. Yeah. But doesn't also the Bible says ask? Because I feel like in as much as God wants better for me, right? He also requires us to ask when we want something. Yes. So I can then say, Mary, I need a rich man. Tall man. Is there anything wrong with that? I'm not saying, I'm not saying God might have something different, better, but isn't it, guys, I'm just letting you in my mind. This is how my mind, I'll be thinking of these things. Yes, isn't it, can't then, okay, won't God give you the better that looks like
what you want?
What I want, because he knows a lot. God knows us all, so I'm sure He knows there's a tall, dark, handsome man that is good for me some way.
So you're hosting me in your studio, and you are responsible for whatever that is happening. Why didn't you give me wine?
Because you said you don't drink wine.
Is it because I said, why did you ask me in the first place?
Because you're a pastor, and most pastors don't, unless they're Catholic.
So you are then believing in what I am. That even when I would have said, no, I can take wine, you would have said, but you're a pastor, you're not supposed to be taking wine. So even in the presence of what I desire, you knowing who I am, you're not going to approve based on the fact that you know who I am, and probably you know what I deserve. I didn't say I want series. Actually, the two juices that you bought, the one you left there is my best. It's the one I like.
Sorry.
So you get it, but in your mind you're like, I think this is the best, for me. So I believe that we ask with a faulty kind of mechanism. Whatever that you ask from a higher power, whatever you ask comes depending on what is expected of you. So when you would ask your mom when you were grade 1 for money to go and spend at school, they wouldn't give you $10 because they understand who you are. No matter how you think you want $10, you want to go and spoil your girls, you want to go and spoil your boyfriend, they would give you. So I think, the best way that we should approach God in need of anything is becoming children. I think we know what we want more than God himself. So sometimes when we are asking him, he's actually shocked. So when we become people that say, if it's your way, then it has to be my way, then I think you ask something, then about what is acceptable within God. So we live in a generation where people want the sex before the commitment, want the kiss before the proposal. And still for me that becomes a double standard that we have, that we expect God then to hold what we took by our own hand.
Ooh.
So now when there are a lot of people, I'll tell you, there are a lot of people that no longer loves God for the things that they got themselves into without God and then blamed God after.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
So there's a lot of that then where we I'm living in acceptance of what happens in our generation, the values that we have lost, the double standards that we live in. But I always tell people that then if you want God to be part of this, then you have to go by his values.
Okay. My mind is spinning. I'll still go back to the question.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but yeah, I think you've answered. Because I was about to say, why is it works other, but yeah. So it means I have to abstain and be celibate.
Definitely, I think when you then meet someone and you want to build something, then you have to talk. Remember I said chemical reactions over, the things that then are valuable.
But if I'm to be honest, because I know of a situation. Someone is going to kill me for saying this, but I know of a situation. Okay, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Very honest. For someone who has experience in these things.
Yeah.
Right. Unfortunately, you could not keep yourself. You have done things, and then, stupid saying, but this is an honest question.
No, I'm being
honest. I'm being vulnerable here, guys.
So into this, and you have enjoyed it.
Yes, and then you meet someone. You say, "Okay, God, now I want to do it the right way."
Yes.
What happens when you get married and you're disappointed?
So disappointment is, I think, an issue of value. What is that thing that you value?
Okay.
So if you marry for money, your emotions will end up in bankruptcy. Because that was the value for you. So when it's not there, so what is marriage? It's a concoction. It's a mixture of a lot of important things, And I think then that sometimes then affect the other. So if you have a choice and you say you want to be happy in the bedroom, are you still happy in the dining? Are you still happy as a couple in town? Are you still happy as a family in a family setup? Are you happy when you have kids? Have you ever seen that men do not marry the women that they usually go out with?
Yep.
Yes, that is because, she's a vibe. She's a vibe, but, I can't marry her because she's not the person that I want to be sitting in our family and they're pointing and they're saying this is Onward's wife. She doesn't fit there. But if we can just get on a Friday night,
that's all I need.
So you have people that text you on Friday, what's up? That you are that person. You have been sectionalized to be the weekend person. You're not called when there's a business meeting. You're not told when there's something good going on. It's only on a Friday. You have been sectionalized to that person and they will enjoy that weekend with you. And on Sunday morning, they are looking at you like, what time are you leaving? Because the most important things of my life then are supposed to happen. So I think it's a value issue. I think when you are happy, if you have 4 boxes and you are happy by at least 3, if one is not going on very well, I believe then that the 3 are going to cover up for everything else. And I mean that happiness in the bedroom, the Bible says that the marriage bed is undefiled. So when we are married, God gives you a license to kick it anyhow. And I think that, and God is not going to be there watching and asking you how you're doing it. And so I think those are some of the things that we need to see. What is one thing that cannot be changed? And I believe that values for me are the most important things. If it's gonna be dressing, I'll go with you everywhere to make sure that you dress the way that I want. I'll put makeup, I'll find the best makeup artist, I'll buy every Frandal, Brazilian, Peruvian, 21 in their different inches to make sure that you look the way that I want. If there is anything that need therapy, we're going for therapy and we work, these things out. So there are things that you can change and there are things that you can't change. So you also then make sure that, if it's happiness that you want to achieve, there's a way to do it.
Okay, so as a Christian girl that wants to find a good Christian man, how do I know that? What are the signs? What signs should I look for to say this is a good Christian man? Because people are good at pretending. Obviously, we live in a world where everyone is just trying to look good on social media, talk good about God. But how do I know that, okay, this is a man that God has given me, or this is the man that is this man is a good Christian man?
I mean conversations. These days probably we don't spend a lot of time together. You also realize that there are conversations that need face to face. Not everything should happen, and not everything should be evaluated based on social media. There are times when my mom went through my social media, called me, "Are you okay?" I said, "Mom, the things that I speak on social media, sometimes I speak on behalf of others." You know what I mean? Every Sunday when our media people, you have to be standing when I'm arriving at church, when I enter, when I come out. That's the time that I would have taken my time to bath, to make sure that I wear, something. But it doesn't mean that my everyday life.
It's like that.
So people these days don't spend enough time with each other doing the right things.
Okay.
So it's always, things that makes us feel better, things that makes us feel good, but we don't have conversations. We don't have hard conversations. The people that you see that this is a red flag, and you think that at some point in marriage, things should change. So how does that people think about the God that they're actually serving? I met a certain woman who was so into and being angry about God. So whenever they pray, you see the anger.
Passionate.
It was, Parab was like, I believe in a God that I have to build a relationship with through the word, through being taught, through being submissive to another person. You know, a man that cannot submit to God, or a man that cannot submit to another man who is in authority, will never submit to the family.
Ooh. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. You said a man that cannot submit to God,
Yeah.
a man that cannot submit to another man who's in authority,
Yeah.
cannot submit to his own family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that becomes a very irresponsible person, because they think that they are above everything. So that kind of a person is not going to listen to, you know, what you're going to say.
Yeah.
You know, I believe that women have a role to play even in our growth. You know, that's why I'm saying sometimes I'm all over. You know, I need someone who ground me and say, no, baby, I know you do this right, you do this right. Why don't you focus on this? You know, I need a person who, when I'm getting stuck, who speak, you know, into me and get me going. But when I'm out there, I know that there's someone who is my quarterback, who is my defender, who is my keeper, who does everything to make sure that I become the man that I am out there. So when you are in conversation with a person and you don't feel like you're that person who makes him feel better,
okay,
then there's a problem. But basically, we don't have enough conversation. It's all about, I like your smile, I like wakapfekei, wachei. You know, those are the conversation. I mean, in the relationship with me, if you ask me that 3 times, then
what's going on? Did you eat?
You know, I think it's that conversation that should come after an important conversation. That should not be the most
main reason for calling.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We have been talking, how do we want to raise our family? How do we want to you know, work on our finances? What do we want? Do we want to travel the world? You know, us who are so much into church, I want to build schools, I want to build orphanages. Do you believe in that? You know, how do we balance between what you want and what I want? But from what you want and what you want, what becomes our own way of doing things? You are coming from your family where you have your own way of doing things.
Oh, yeah.
I'm coming from my family when I have my own way of doing things. But how do we sit and say, what you know and what I know, your experiences, what my experiences, what is our family going to be like?
Wow, we should have more conversations, guys.
Yeah.
If you want to date me.
No, it's a good question. It's a good question.
They're saying, because I'm sure they've been struggling in the streets of Harare.
Yeah.
They're saying, where does our pastor, where does he meet people that he's dating? Because obviously you've been dating, yes?
Oh,
yeah. So when do you meet them at church, Tinder, Facebook, Twitter?
All right. Yeah. So personally, I'm not an outgoing person. I'm a person who loves his own space. I'm also a person who's like always up to something. So you know, that shrinks my my pool. I think at some point we went out somewhere with a sister. My sister had visited, so I had time to take it these places. And at some point we got to a restaurant. So why are you single? When you see that, these are the places where you should come.
You should be coming.
you know, actually, and just for the fun of it, you know, when we were there, like when I moved around, like 2-3 people checking on me and greeting me. I was like,
oh, okay.
What's happening here? Maybe I should spend time here. but well, I think where you spend your time becomes where you meet people. So if you spend your time in the streets, you meet people in the streets. It's most of your free time is in the club, you meet people in the club. If you go for business, conferences, you meet people there over lunch. Some people are excited about, how you talk, how you present, and you start conversations. So I'm a business person. So there's times that I meet people through business. I travel, so there are a lot of times that I've also met people during traveling. Obviously you go and preach in different places, and that pastor who is hosting you as their daughter, who they think can be someone. I also have people who manage my social media who sometimes send me screenshots. We receive this message.
DMs.
So you also get DMs. You also have people that like your pictures from 2014.
The girls are busy.
So I mean, there's a lot of
there are
ways
options
that you still meet people. I'm just like anybody else, man. But then it goes back to your values. Would you then be comfortable with someone who's just about stalking you and all that? Would you be comfortable with your church sister that is so obsessed with you? I used to have a church member that was so obsessed with me that they started building their own empire. Why I didn't actually know. Then realized after some time that this person, there are people that are calling them mothers. Mother, they're gifting them, Senior women in our church, they were receiving gifts, they were being invited.
And you guys were not dating even?
We're not dating. She's paying for people to attend some women conferences, some business, what she's gifting everyone. She was good at what she was doing. And I was
you
just
were still not interested?
It wasn't just my kind of person. Right? So people, meet people that are trying very hard to get your attention.
Oh, I think for the last thing we're going to talk about, I'm just going to take you back. You talked about books and theatre, which is something I'm very interested in.
Yeah.
Do you have any plays showing soon, or?
Man,
I'm an actress, by the way, in case you need somebody.
Oh.
A lot of people don't know this about me, but I did a lot of serious. I did a lot of theatre. I did a lot of hi-fi in Dwasi, but back in the day.
That's
and then I moved out of the country.
I performed the hi-fi twice.
Oh yeah, I did. I worked with Reason by. I worked with.
Oh, I know.
Patricia Nambana. I've worked with Jason. I've worked with him.
Jason was my mentor.
Oh, serious?
Yeah. So Patsime was the one that supported our organization first. So I'm gonna invite you to our 10th anniversary for the organization.
Awesome.
This month. And I would do a theater something. It's a 15-minute a play that we're gonna do to celebrate our anniversary. Maybe that's the only time. But I think we've also been speaking to some creatives in church that we want to start doing Christian films, Christian theater plays as well. I don't know how I might feature in one in the coming time. But Too Late to Fail was my first book that I launched in the United States of America. During our 10th anniversary this month, I'm also launching my book titled The Call to Youth Leadership, where I speak about my journey as a leader and just encouraging more, youth leaders. I think what's happening in our country right now, I believe that we need more youthful people, being in the spaces of power, whether in parliament, in council, in our communities, in our churches, and everywhere. And I think in my next life, that's the kind of agenda that I really want to push. Hence this book. In November, I'm going to release my other book called The Art of Kintsugi.
Art of Kintsugi.
Yes.
Interesting.
Which is where I'm also talking about, my time that I've been broke. And that how God has been able to use these broken pieces of me, to make something beautiful. So one of the times I was traveling and I met a Japanese potter, but who collects broken Japanese pots and then make them into something very nice. So they use gold to to actually, get the pieces
Nice.
together. And then that vase that was broken and that was costing $20, suddenly is costing thousands of dollars. But it was broken, but it was never left broken. Someone had to come and build that together to become a valuable piece. So I believe that I was in that time where I was not valuable enough because I was broken. And now, what is happening and what God is building with me is going to be so great that I'll be that valuable piece. So that's the book that I'm launching in November during my birthday.
Oh, awesome. So if anyone is interested in getting your book, where can they get it from? Any of the books?
Yes, so Too Late to Fail is on Amazon.
Okay.
So it's just going to search Too Late to Fail and you find it on Amazon. If you need the hard copy, you can just inbox any of my social media platforms, Onward Gibson, Ambassador Onward Gibson, and the guys that can deliver that to you.
Okay, and if there are people watching that would want to be part of your church, where can we find your church?
All right, our church is called New Creation Embassy. We are in Southerton at a place called Spill House. So our social media platforms is those posters that we always post. We also have some prayer groups that we have in our WhatsApp community. So just get on our social media, find any poster, text the number that is there, you'll be taken to where you want to be.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Onward Gibson, for gracing us and blessing us on the Uncooking Wine episode. We would love to have you again and talk more about Christian dating.
Yes, I think we should. And thank you so much. It's an honor to be invited, to speak where there's a little wine.
Yes.
Even if we are not drinking it. But that's the conversation that we need. We remove ourselves from a lot of people. We judge, people because of who they are. I always say in church that we don't want to mix with people that have sins that smell, but just because that mine do not smell doesn't mean that I'm not a sinner.
Yeah.
So I love having conversations, and I could have conversations everywhere, and I'm excited for being here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow us on our social media platforms on Uncooking Wine, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and at Todo_Sims Twitter. Thank you. Bye.